Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the Follower Insider. I am your host, Collin Dias. I'm joined by both Jeff and Boomer. Beautiful day today. I always say this. The weather is getting warmer out there. The weather is amazing. It's one of the best days I've seen this year. Sunny for the most part. Not much humidity, and it was a nice 65 degrees. It was beautiful.
Yep.
And last show, Jeff,
Which I did watch.
and I'm happy you watched. I'm happy you watched. But we didn't have much. We had a couple things to talk about, but it wasn't. We didn't have that much, but we had a great conversation last time. And then over the last few days, especially from yesterday's joint meeting and the news with the police department, and now we have the ARPA, the businesses that receive ARPA funds. That all came out, and we have so much to talk about today. And I think we're gonna have a great conversation. All right. So Jeff, what should we get into first? I'm gonna save the police.
Let's talk about. Let's bring up real quick with the opera fund money that people received lately.
Sure. And
if you want to read them out here, I have it right here.
All right, we can get into that first. And then we're gonna talk about the joint meeting as well. I have the same thing you have.
Oh, Pam's page.
Yeah, Pam. No,
okay.
So let me just explain real quick. A little synopsis. So, we talked about this Tuesday. The city, the city has opera funds. It was $3.26 million they gave the BCEDC, and BCEDC administers those funds, or gets reimbursed for those funds by administering grants to local businesses of $2,500 or $5,000, depending on how many employees you have in your business. And I asked in January, Jeff, that is this going to be public record, or is the community going to see what businesses receive funds?
Well, how long ago was it that it was well, when I asked Will, is it open to the public if we're going to get these records, and he said, yeah. And how long ago was that? About maybe a week or two ago.
When the city said it would be public record?
Yeah,
this was back in January.
Right, and
this is more than a week. This was more than a week.
Okay,
or two
well
ago.
Then because we never received it until you had to
yesterday.
Bring it up yesterday.
I'm not trying to take all the credit for getting this release. I believe I didn't watch the meeting,
but they said.
I believe Counselor Dion said that she was going to release the records as well. I that's what I heard she said at the meeting. I didn't watch the meeting, but kudos to her for always sticking up for transparency.
Was it just lack of we'll do it when we do it?
No, Michelle Dion said she was going to release. No, that's not. No, I'm happy she took the initiative. You know what I mean? Because the administration wasn't going to release the records, so she was going to release it in full transparency, which I applaud. She does a great job with transparency.
I'm applauding to. She's the only one to actually give a damn.
No, there's a few, but I mean, she's one of the ones who really care about transparency in this community. Anyway, Jeff. So the mayor, this administration had a press conference where they announced some of the individuals who receive all the funds, some of the funds, but that wasn't everyone. That was only some, and that's a video. There's no paperwork involved with that. I can't see on a paper which businesses received the taxpayer funds. So early in the week, I believe it was either last Friday or Monday, Tuesday, I made a records request I asked the mayor's office informally first, do you have those records you said were public, that they told me in writing were public? They're like, no, I have to go to Ken Filo's office. Okay. And so I was like, okay. And then I was like, no, I'm going to make a formal request with the city, so they have to provide a response in concurrence with the public records law. And I got the same response. So it's like, okay, I'll ask Ken File. I guess I'll ask Ken File, even though here's the thing, and it's not really his fault either. He runs BCEDC, which is a private organization. They do not have to follow the public records law. They are a private organization. I am confused as to why the city said they did not have the records, and I found out. I did find out the city did have those records, and we found out anyway. But the city was, I guess, I don't like saying this much, but they were very untruthful when they said they didn't have the records. And the mayor's office made an untruthful statement when they said the city didn't have any of those records. I would have to go to BCEDC, and I did ask him, and I didn't get a response. But I don't have to get a response, Jeff, because
it should be open.
They said it's a private organization. I think I don't have 20/20 vision anymore. What do those comments say, Boomer?
George Roderick said, "Let's talk about some real ish."
But
then he also said, "Collin Dias, you probably didn't ask the right question." That I find highly unlikely.
Well,
I think I asked her. I'm just trying. I know this is a little bit of the board. I kind of want to give the whole story before we go right into the records. So, yeah. Anyway, I made the I didn't get a response. So then I made a public input to yesterday's joint meeting, exposing all this, explaining to both the city council and the school committee, look, this isn't transparent. What's going on? I don't know why this wasn't released. And then the very next day, this morning, I got an email from the mayor's office saying the mayor wanted me to send this to you, and I got all the records and the records that we're about to read. So it's published out there, but I mean, you can see it for yourself. Is there any allocation that you question? I'm curious.
On what?
Is there any of these funds that were released? Is any that you have a question about?
If you like to read them out, because then we can just
Yeah, we can do that. Let me get.
You already used yours.
Mine has the monies they received.
Okay.
But
oh yeah, if you have that with the money that they received, then that's fine.
Mine has the money. I posted in the. Let me get this up here. Here we go. Okay, so trying to read a few again. They have the 5,000s, and there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14 businesses that received $5,000. So 14. Can't do math right now. 14 times 5.
14.
70.
14.
70. All right, 70. That sounds about right. 70. So around $70,000 was released in the $5,000 range, and then you have a whole lot more businesses that received the $2,500. Like a lot more, and a couple of these. I did do my research before the meeting. I had a couple of questions regarding were these city businesses, because I saw one for that was named Plymouth County Plymouth Convenience Store Incorporated. So I was wondering, why is that? How's that fall over business? It is a fall over business. So I just want to get that out there, because if you saw that, you would question if that's a fall over business. And I did do it is a fall over business. I don't know why they're named that.
It's probably one of those convenience stores, because there's so many of them.
But there's still one or two I had. Most of these are legitimate, and I don't really want to question.
Yeah, you're always going to have people that can actually use it and need it and benefit and actually were in need of it.
Yeah,
you're always going to have that. Just like any system, you're always going to have the abusers as well. And the good old boy system of, hey, you should use this.
Hey, do me a favor.
Hey, can I get that money? Can I get some of that money? You know that's going to happen.
Exactly. Most of these were very legitimate, I'm sure. But I would love to find out, they had to submit certain documentation, Boomer, to prove that they were in need of COVID relief. And I do trust the process they have. I mean, I really wouldn't apply for it. I don't really want the BCEDC to have my private, like my documents, my business documents. I don't know if you would.
Absolutely not.
They want you need to give.
They're going to send out their tax squad to go into every business and every place and try to see what they can steal from.
Boomer, you have to give your tax returns to BCEDC. You have to give a copy of your driver's license to BCEDC. That's ridiculous. I'm not giving that information.
Government funds, I have to give a private entity my information.
Yes.
That is a problem.
A huge problem. This should have been done through the city.
You have zero right to have access to people's personal life.
Here's the truth, Boomer. The city supposedly doesn't have the resources, not only the resource, but they don't have the staffing to do this. That's why they passed the buck to
We don't have
Ken
the
Fiola's
staffing
office.
to hand out money.
Right.
It's weird because they seem to hand out money to themselves and their friends every single day.
Yes.
He just hired 27 new people. None of those people know how to write a check. None
Guess
of them
not.
know how to read a tax return. Like I don't understand.
No, I agree with you, Boomer. Anyway, again, I think we can all agree that most of these were very legitimate, and it's not a bad idea. It's not a bad program that's being.
No, I'm all for help, and it's free. It's free money that came from the feds anyway, and that's where it should go.
But I think it's very important that we always do our due diligence, and we have to. And I would love to see more transparency and to see how these businesses to make sure they actually deserve the funds, every single one of them.
Right.
Arbitrarily, because I'm sure there are one or two in here. It's very fair to check that they may not have actually needed these funds, and they're just getting
how many law firms were on that list?
There's a few.
Oh yeah.
I see two. There's a civil. Do you count a civil process?
Yeah.
All right, three. I see. I see at least three.
Okay.
And one of three. Yeah, three. I see John Angelo, Gary Howiak, and the Bristol County Civil Process. All four businesses. So, there's one I had a question on. It was there's just a name. There was no business name. There was just literally a name. This Silvina Pereira, Silvina Madeira, and then but this is like the name of a business supposedly. But I guess maybe they're going by their own name. They got the $2,500 check.
I never heard of
doing a DBA, a do business.
Yes, that is a DBA.
They're just I don't know, something out of their home. Maybe, who knows? People can do anything these days.
And I want to be very careful. We don't want to criticize private businesses that contribute to our community. I do want.
No, absolutely.
But that's a question I would ask about that. And any question that you might have in the communities, definitely reach out to the mayor's office, reach out to BCEDC, ask your questions. Ask your questions with these funds. And this is just the first allocation. There's going to be more. And there's going to be more. Anything you want to add, Jeff?
Well, as I'm seeing some of the restaurant business, there were definitely a few that had, were struggling the past 2 years.
At the restaurant industry,
Dunnies
was hit hard.
I would say
during the pandemic
Dunnies,
was
we
destroyed.
forced them to get hit hard.
Dunnies, Sherry's. I don't know about TA. I think TA they did pretty okay. I mean,
I think restaurants.
Honestly, at the end of the day,
I'm not going to
every
question
business
it. Yes.
was shut down unless they could do drive-through or takeout and stuff. So, honestly, I think any restaurant, I'm not even going to question because at the end of the day,
I agree with that.
We forced it and pushed it down people's throats so hard and made it so much more than it had to be. And look, oh my God, COVID doesn't exist anymore. Well, why is that? Because the money dried up? Funny. So at the end of the day, these restaurants couldn't open, couldn't serve, couldn't do anything. So they lose a lot. And you got to understand, these restaurants also have all the overhead. What about their employees? What about all those people that were out of work? What about their rents? Whatever, unless they own the buildings, which again, not many of them do. So when you start looking at that overhead and that cost and trying to take care of your employees the best you can, I think the restaurants deserved it more than any of these businesses that you see on there.
Right.
We were shut down. We couldn't host shows. We couldn't advertise. We couldn't do anything. All we could do was what we had with digital media, which was fine. But we couldn't bring in new customers, new income, new nothing. We lost money. At the end of the day, we're here. We survived. We figured it out. Restaurants didn't have that ability. Most of them didn't have enough to stay afloat.
I agree.
Well, there's a lot of there's still a lot of restaurants that actually, I'm surprised that it's still around because they took a hard pitch. And I know a lot.
Venus de Milo, that's a prime example of a business that was very affected by COVID.
It's not in Fall River, but it's still popular.
No, it's not.
Attraction.
First thing.
But this is not this is still going to continue on, right? Because I heard
There's going to be more. There's going to be more.
So,
Well,
people.
they
the
might-
way
they
it- the
might
way it
allocate-
looks is they'd have to allocate to like 500 or 600 businesses if you add up the money that's in there.
Well, there's still a lot of
They-
business that was.
I was
So they'd have to allocate
I
a
heard
ton.
I heard directly that they could the BCEDC could ask for more money.
Yeah,
They might
That's
go
what
right
I-
through
that's
this
what I heard.
$3.26 million. They could blow right through this, and they might ask the ARPA committee, the secretive ARPA committee, for more money.
Committee of Friends and Family.
The committee of friends and family.
The spread
committee.
plan. I like
No,
it.
here's the thing: they don't have public meetings. They don't have any records. They don't have any minutes attached to them that I'm aware of. I asked for ARPA minutes. I never received a response. I asked for
I don't understand how you can have a secret society in charge of $70 million.
as I said
I don't understand that.
previously, the city council needs to step up to the plate and take back their authority to appropriate funds and stick it to this mayor. I remember there was talk about an ordinance they wanted to create to have every allocation of ARPA funds come before the city council to be approved.
Absolutely should be.
That's transparent.
Absolutely should
What's
be.
happening right now is not transparent. It's a shame more city councilors aren't sticking up to this
Well,
administration.
We knew that was going to happen. Unfortunately, you got more of the same. There's nothing you can do about that. You got more of the same when you put more of the same in. There's a reason.
That's
people
how it
vote for
works.
The same people. You get the same results. Literally, the definition of insanity: doing the same thing over and over again and expecting different results.
This isn't good for the taxpayers either. But I'm gonna say one thing. At least the mayor has said in his interim CFO. We have a permanent CFO, but I think this interim CFO is handling this budget process. For some reason, Mr. Acapone, I think his name is. But we do have I forgot this person's name, but we do have a permanent CFO now. So I'm assuming she's just going to start up after the budget session, or she needs to get caught up to speed.
Doesn't want to get questioned before the budget. I like
Exactly.
that. So here's the thing. So our last CFO worked, part-time doing little boards and nonsense things, right?
Mhm.
She getting a pension right now based on her last job as CFO?
I don't know.
I think we should look into that. Because
That's
how
a
do you
fair
get a
question.
pension for the rest of your life for a job you did for a few years? Not the rest of the time you were here, because the rest of the time you were here, you weren't making that kind of money. Why are you getting a pension based on that?
You have mentioned
This
that before.
pension system is absurd. If we're taking care of our friends and we're just going to give these people high-paying positions for the last 2-3 years of their 20 years that they put in or whatever it is, and now all of a sudden they're collecting on the taxpayer's dime, almost $200,000 a year, there's a problem with that.
Yeah, I
agree.
$150,000 a year, $100,000. I don't care if it's $50,000
I-
a year. That's not what you were making on this board at $1,100
Why you
a
receive?
year.
I know.
There's no way.
Yeah.
But now you're going to pay you that the rest of your life because you held this position for a couple of years at the end? I don't think so. There
Anyway,
needs to be a proration involved.
I
in
do
that.
want to give our mayor his 1 star, his 1 noodle, as SpongeBob would say. I did appreciate the talk, and again, we always hear politicians talk. I did appreciate that there was an effort for this budget and future budgets to not use any more ARPA monies or one-time monies. The mayor said it is his goal. He actually didn't say it. The CFO said it in front of him because, mayor doesn't really like to talk that much, doesn't really like to
I can
take
tell.
initiative and leadership. But he does want to put the city in a direction to no longer use one-time money. So that's something I'm definitely not against.
Of course, to put us in a position, now that it's corrected the position that he put us in. Now that he was able to use the money to get everything done that he wanted to do and take care of all the friends he wants to take care of, now he wants to make sure that we don't do that again?
Yes.
Really?
So anyway, all right. Now I gave him his 1 star. Now I'm going to go into some issues. So before we get into the joint meeting, there's a city council meeting coming up, and we'll get into that in a little bit. But it's something I really wanted to point out. So the mayor wants to change the ordinance, and let me just get right into it. So the chief of staff of the mayor's office can only have whoever the chief of staff is, their salary is in ordinance is by contract. It's whatever the contract is, whatever the mayor decides, the administration decides to have for a contract. The contract must not exceed $78,780. The mayor wants to remove that. So the mayor can make any contract he wants, basically. For any amount he wants. He could raise
check.
So because right now ordinance will not allow him to exceed with any contract he gives to the chief of staff $78,000. So he wants to remove that, and that would give him the authority to give a big pay raise. He's not saying he wants to. He may not, but that gives him the authority to.
Why would he even ask if that wasn't his intent?
So there's a second one. There's three. There's three he wants to. So the second one is the direct.
They're all about pay. They're all about pay issues.
Yes, they're all three pay issues.
Weird.
The second one, let's play a little game. Guess the position he wants to remove the not to exceed.
That he wants to remove?
Yeah, he wants to remove the not to exceed. This one
probably his own.
No. The director of community maintenance. Right now the contract cannot exceed $98,000.
Okay.
So he wants to remove that, and he can give any contract he wants.
Why? Because $98,000 is not a livable wage on the city? That's weird. But all the other people should pay higher taxes and live off less to pay their salaries?
This next one,
I can't even understand the fact that they don't even see it that way.
This next one I think is the worst one. The mayor also wants to get rid of the not to exceed for the director of financial services that we just talked about. And that is $140,000 a year. Ooh. It can't exceed $140,000. That's not. I just want to clarify for the public. That does not mean the mayor is going to give out $180,000 contract to the director of financial
services. The city is always broke. We're always behind. They're always increasing. If you cannot handle doing your job and staying within a budget, none of you deserve a raise. None of you deserve the money you're actually getting already, let alone a raise.
I agree with you.
It's ridiculous.
That's insane.
And this is the mayor's letter to the city council. Dear honorable council members, section 53-302 of the city of Fall River ordinances includes the salary schedule for contract personnel. The attached ordinance removes the not to exceed amount from the remaining three positions, clarifies titles, and accounts for changes that have previously been approved by the city council.
So,
best regards, Paul Coogan.
Now he wants to bring this to the council, and
yes, this Tuesday.
So basically, can the council object these?
Yeah, they can vote no.
Okay, that's gonna be interesting now, because I really want to hear what Sean Kadeem or Michelle.
What's most likely going to happen is the council is going to refer this to ordinance, and then you have to watch the ordinance meeting.
Yeah, right. So it's
passing the buck.
Yeah,
that's what that is.
I mean, it's
passing the buck.
I don't think that's referring to ordinance. I don't think it's passing the buck per se, because there's still city council members. The city council ultimately has to approve it after the ordinance committee. It has to go through ordinance committee. They give a recommendation, goes back to the full council.
Who's on that ordinance committee? Do we know?
I do know. I'm trying to recall. I know Sean Kadeem's the president. Michelle Dion is on there.
That's a good start.
Brad Kilby?
A lot of the
I'm not sure. I don't want to.
A lot of the favorites are not there, hopefully, so that's good. All the yes men that are on the board. Okay.
I don't remember the rest. I think it's a 5-person committee or 3-person. No, it's a 5-person committee. I'm not.
I thought Pam was on that too.
She's not, because she's the president now.
She's the president now, so I don't think she can. But I thought she was.
She was the president.
So I don't know who the new.
I know Sean is the new chair of that board. And then Mr. Councilor Kadeem.
Well, if you want to bring it up for next week and look into that, then.
Well, we can bring it up next Tuesday for the show. That'll be when the city council meeting is. So
so it's next Tuesday.
Yes.
Oh, okay.
So maybe we'll have to wait until the end of the week for that one.
Most likely.
Basically, it's going to take time. I don't think they're going to
They're not going to approve this. They're not going to approve this Tuesday. I just want to get that clear.
Yeah.
I hope not.
I don't
approve it at all.
I don't think they should. I would not be supportive of this either. But I don't know. I guess some people think this is okay. I don't. Maybe I really think the city council really hasn't been holding this administration accountable lately.
Well, you don't want to know why?
I
Because
wonder why.
this is, remember last year that there was an election and everybody was like against the mayor, and then when he remained the mayor, everyone's like, let's try to coexist this year.
And I'm okay with working together.
Right, but I'm
okay
just
with
saying
that.
because this is, again, I'm gonna bring something later, but it's like, let's not butt
Let's
heads.
not. I mean, that's the way I look at it, and I just don't just do your job. It's not like don't working together. Just do the right thing, regardless. If the mayor does something right, just support it in your heart. If he
I'm
does
all for
something
that.
wrong, hold him accountable. Like just don't influence your decision one way or the other over.
I don't care who likes
politics.
who works for who.
Well, I think
You
that's
all work for the people.
but
And
that's
none of them, well, I can't say none of them, 3 of them are working for the people.
for the most part,
Everybody else is working for themselves and each other.
and that's sad.
That's a
not
problem.
that's not why people elected
That is a problem.
any of them.
Unfortunately, that's exactly why they got elected. because
That's what you get in
they're
the
taking
city.
care
then.
of that select few that do vote.
Oh, and a couple more things on the agenda. We'll talk about this at the end of the meeting. The Committee on Finance wants to meet in executive session to discuss recent developments in the police department.
They what?
The city council is going to meet in private to talk about the
Oh, so
issues
it's
with the
not
police
public
department.
to the people. Then all right, so it's private.
So the public shouldn't know what's going on with their people that are supposed to defend them and protect them. That's weird. Listen, I have great friends that are cops, detectives. You know,
we know
they are amazing police officers. They are taking a beating because of the corruption within our police department.
And that's
All right. No, let's
the
talk
dirty
about it
people.
now.
They are taking
let's talk
a
about it.
beating.
So is
because of it.
this meeting?
And that starts with our leadership above them.
I think they're going to have this for a future meeting. I don't think they're going to be in executive session this Tuesday. I think they're going to.
But is this because of the recent issues of the documents that was stolen?
2 years of evidence of everything.
I would assume
2 years
so.
of all the evidence is gone.
This
isn't the first time.
Well, I know it's not the first
Boomer,
time.
I do want to hear your opinion on that.
Phones missing, videos deleted from phones.
I really do want to hear your opinion. Because I know, and I think I can speak for all of us that we're all we all support our Fall River Police Department.
Oh yeah,
absolutely.
I would take the opinion. I think we do have a few bad apples in there.
Absolutely. But here's the thing: when you have corruption, favoritism, and all this other nonsense way above them, and then the people that are putting them in, and then these people have their family members that are police officers. There's way too many hands in the pot. Way too many. And then you got to, how do you not? How do you have a legit, honest, full of integrity police department when they are being run like this, by this? It's impossible. It's impossible. Everybody owes somebody something. To remove evidence and do that stuff for this kind of case, somebody got paid. Find the money, follow the money. Somebody got paid.
This might be another federal investigation. I know they want to
refer
this to the US District Attorney.
And whoever it is this time belongs in prison, not just suspended for a week. Not suspended with pay.
I agree with that.
Prison, just like anybody else would be. I'm tired of the police union, tired of the nonsense. Enough. You have a dirty cop. That dirty cop belongs in prison.
I agree.
Period. He's not above the law.
I agree. 100%.
We have great cops in this city doing everything in their power to help and do what they can do. The next day, these people are walking on the streets. Evidence is missing. Phones are deleted. Nonsense. And then you got other cops just watching cops beat up people for no reason just because they feel they can. You don't get to play, like your gang is better than their gang by hitting them because you're a cop. You don't get to do that. You have laws to follow too.
I don't have anything to say to that. Jeff, what would you like to see be a resolution to this? Do you think the city, and we have a police department internal investigation, we have the DA investigating this, and I'm pretty sure we have other entities, state, federal wide, about to investigate this issue.
Hope so.
Because I think this is too big of an issue for them not to. Why doesn't the city?
Feds are the only ones I trust in this situation, and lately I don't trust them either. But
you think the city should launch its own investigation or hire an outside firm to come in? Should this be an internal investigation?
It should not be internal.
That's
why we have this, because of internal. because of the internal corruption, because of the internal paydays. That's why we have this problem, an ongoing problem. This isn't the first time this has happened. But where have any of these cops paid a price? Have any of these people in charge paid a price? Absolutely not.
Officer Pasella?
Absolutely not. We got police records in basements of friends of the mayor, and everybody's fine. Don't worry about it. We're good. Like, nonsense. Bringing your work home is one thing. Hiding evidence and drugs in your home, that's not bringing your work home.
It's one thing after another.
Exactly. It's crap. It's pure crap.
So again, the only
good cops are paying the price.
I will say this: I do appreciate the DA's office hiring. I think they're hiring a special prosecutor, someone from outside, to look into this. I really do think the city should also look into hiring someone from the outside, like a law firm, to look into this. Someone that they don't know, that won't be pulling favors. But again, we need leadership from the administration, which we don't have. And I think Council President Ponte last year wanted an investigation, wanted a administrative investigation.
Right.
Started from the administration onto what's happening in the police department, so we can root out the issues, so we can help our police department, help our community at the same time.
Yep. But all he got was flack for people saying, "Oh, he's against the police department."
And really? Look what happens.
Really, the guy doesn't care about the cops. That's what we're gonna go with. Stop it.
I mean, not to change the subject, but isn't our city the greatest safe city? Isn't that what he did?
We hit number 4. I think we hit number 4. We're moving on up. We went from number 8 or 6 to number 4 in the most dangerous cities in Massachusetts. How do you even come close? How do you come close? And you're being beat out by Brockton, Springfield, and New Bedford. Wow. I'd be proud. Like, are you serious? You have the audacity to go on and say this city is safe and this city is that crap. Pure crap.
Because everyone.
These are people so out of touch with the people they represent.
Yep.
They have no idea what it's like to live in this city, to walk the streets in this city, to not let your kids out in this city. They have no idea what it's like.
In my opinion, ever since COVID shut down and everything, people just went crazy. And then
who on the council right now has kids that walk this city?
Not that I can think of.
I can't think of it.
Not Trot. Not Linda, not Kilby that I'm aware of, right?
Not Sean,
not Michelle. Pam has 2 kids that are in high school.
No, right.
So she's got 2 young kids.
Yeah.
They're not walking the city, I guarantee it.
No,
but
not
at the
end themselves, no.
Correct.
No.
So we have all of these people, and I'm not saying all of them don't care, but we have these people on their high horse about the safety of the city and the city's doing great and all this nonsense. They have no idea what it's like to not be able to let your child go and do something because of how bad the city is, or the fact that you have to be there every second of every minute of what they're doing because you can't trust the people in the city.
I feel because I know I'm not trying to bring up from last year, because when the Corky Road incident took place and we wanted to try and get the community in that area together, you got the council. Again, this is separate people who wanted.
Yeah, they showed up for the cameras and never saw them again.
Yeah, that.
Showed up for the cameras. You never saw any of them again.
No, what's going on with that? No one has ever brought that crap up.
Of course not. Because it's not the topic of the day. The cameras are gone.
No,
it doesn't matter. When the vet's kitchen has an event, some of them show up. I'll give them that.
Yeah,
absolutely. And unfortunately, some of us are busy during the day and we can't be there, because I love being there. Like, the people are awesome. The vets are awesome. Dawn does an awesome job. Like, I've had no issues there. I love it there, and they do a great job.
Right.
But that's not representing that community in that area. That's representing
But I'm just saying, my issue is the safety from a young child got killed in that park. And
at the end of the day, I don't take the blame off of what they were doing, off of the incidents that they're doing it, and off the drugs, off the guns, off everything else. The 19-year-old, all these people, they're all connected. Okay, so that whole area and that whole gang, none of them are going to talk. I get it. The cop's job is hard enough, but we're not there. We're not in that area. We're not trying to clean up anything. We spend more time trying to cover up than we do trying to clean up. Because if we can't take credit for, like, oh, look what we did, we stopped something, nobody cares.
Hey, I have a facetious question. You think we're going to see this internal investigation after?
No.
I didn't think so. Anyway, I heard everyone talking about veterans. The mayor and nothing. Into something I'm not against either. I'm giving him another star for the
2
mayor.
stars today from Collin? Wow.
Well,
Colin's feeling
I'm trying
generous.
to be.
You get a
I'm
pay
trying
raise
to be.
today?
No,
You sure?
I can't.
Did you get a
talk
$5,000
about it.
check?
No, not yet. No, I'm
I
kidding.
wish.
I'm kidding. Anyway,
I gave him 2 stars last time, so we're good. He's got 4
no,
stars.
the mayor wants to. There's a provision in Mass General Law to create a Veterans Advisory Board,
Okay.
and I mean
What does it do? Just curious.
that I'm not really sure of.
Is this a paid board?
Yeah, I was.
Because if it's a paid board, then we know exactly who's going to be on it. And I'm going to write down the list of names and not show.
And we're gonna take a
I'll
bet.
sh-
So let's take bets.
I'll show everybody
Oh.
here, and you guys can confirm, and we'll even take a picture of it. Okay, so this way,
Okay.
time, date, stamp,
All right, fine.
and we'll see who's on that board.
That's fine.
However, if it's a paid board,
Anyway, I have
If
a
it's
little.
not, then
I
I
do
don't
have a
know.
little 5-minute clip I want to play. Real. Someone sent me the and I do it's good to give them it's good to do this. The mayor just had and I love listening to these because they're good sound bites and it's good to get his answers on things and see if he's right afterwards or not. The mayor had his little question and answer with all of our community media. For 5 minutes, I just want to hear what he has to say. And we'll play it on air.
Paying their rent, primarily through the pandemic, but other issues as well. They can get some help down at Government Center. I know that you initiated this with, I believe, $1.5 million in COVID-related funds to go toward this effort. So again, it's another way for the city to help residents who are having a tough time rebounding from the pandemic and paying rent, right?
Right, absolutely. We'll be in the atrium from 3 to 7. We'll have a number of vendors there that work in these areas.
And that's another thing. Quickly, the I know the administration's having the city's having an event to help people who are dealing with eviction issues. I think that's always a good thing. They're gonna have individuals there that can provide help and assistance.
to an extent. Now, I will say this as a property owner, okay? Once they put out that people did not have to pay their rent. Now, mind you, we already had tenants, and I'm not saying everybody, but there's a lot of it. Already had tenants not paying their rent 2, 3, 4, 5, in my case, 7 months. 7 months of trying to get a court date and trying to go through the process, have them served 3 different times, all kinds of nonsense, right? Because you're going to jump through hoops as a landlord in Massachusetts, unless you know somebody. Then you can get them out in 30 days. It's cool. But when you don't know people and you don't use those kind of benefits because you follow the law and try to do it the right way, it takes forever. Then they put that out. Another year and a half, those tenants did not pay their rent. Not because they weren't working, because they were. Not because they weren't getting money, because they had 4 people in the same apartment, all collecting unemployment top dollar at like $953 a week or whatever it was. Wow. Bragging about it on social media, show up there to go collect rent from the other good tenants that are there. These people walking out brand new shoes, brand new clothes, brand new everything. Walking in with big screen TV. It's crazy. I mean, I have a camera on the yard.
I believe you.
Camera in the yard just so nobody goes in the back, and because there were some issues with people trying to live in the back and do things. So we had cameras there, breaking into the basement. So I don't feel bad for all of these people. If you can prove that you were up to date before COVID happened, and then you weren't getting money, you weren't doing anything, okay, I'm all for it. Whatever they need, take care of them. But if you were that person that was not paying your rent prior to that, you were that person that was still getting paid all of that money and not paying your rent just because you didn't have to, sorry, not sorry, get out.
That's fair.
Listen,
that's very fair, yeah.
I don't want people on the streets. I don't want a homeless issue that we already have, that we pretend we don't have. I don't need any more tent cities. We got it. We're trying to fix that. We have great people working on that. We have great people who help with that stuff. Got it. But people that deserve to lose everything, that have to figure it out, need that wake-up call. Because if we keep giving them free handouts like they just got for the last 2.5, 3 years of free living, while landlords still have to pay their taxes, government, these same people are the ones raising their taxes. These are the same people taking their houses and reselling them for the people. We just had that issue in New Bedford where they come and you didn't pay your taxes. they come and take your property and sell it, right?
Yep.
But here we are telling the landlords,
Oh,
oh,
yeah.
too bad for you. We're going to give them money and they got to stay. Bullshit. It's nonsense. People take advantage of the system, and the system creates that need. They create that loophole for everybody to take from who they think has everything. We have families to feed. I'm paying 2 mortgages, 3 mortgages, 4 mortgages at a time, just like anybody else. These landlords have bills to pay too. But because they did it right and they did the right thing and they put their money in instead of rent and bought a house and then used that they invested and took the chance, the government can screw them over again? Absolutely not. Absolutely not. So when I look at this, it's got its good. It does. But they better scrutinize every single one of these people and not just make it a free handout for everybody. And you know who you pay? You don't pay the people. You pay the damn landlords.
Mm-hmm.
Pay the landlords. For once in your life, take care of your goddamn taxpayers. Take care of your goddamn landlords.
I agree.
Well, I mean, you pay the landlords, but you don't want to let those people who didn't pay off the hook either.
No,
I mean,
of course not. You give them. Listen, if you're going to pay that back rent and give them that opportunity, and they're working and they have to sign that they're going to be caught up, because if they sign saying that they're going to pay their rent from here on out, blah blah blah, so on and so forth, no problem. Landlord doesn't give a shit. He just wants to get paid so he can pay his bills and keep doing what he's doing to take care of his family too.
Yeah.
Now that person misses 1 rent payment, they signed for this. You miss 1 rent payment, you are out in 30 days. There's no process. There's no nothing. It's 30 days, evicted, sheriffs are at your door, throwing your shit on the front lawn. That should be part of it. Why is that not part of it? That should be. People will get their act together or they will start moving out of the city. And those type of people need to move out of the city.
Okay.
I'm saying, I saw
I
it
agree with most of
firsthand.
what you're.
I saw it firsthand, and I know plenty of landlords that dealt with it. I know plenty of people who had to file bankruptcy. I know plenty of people who lost a lot during this time. Thank God I'm fortunate enough where I didn't have to. Thank God some of my family, didn't have to. But creating this problem is 110% the government's fault.
Mm-hmm.
The government did this and gave them a free pass to be deadbeats. And that's a problem. There were real people that struggled. I'm not talking about them. I'm talking about those who abused it. Those are the people.
See,
I said my
so
piece.
okay, all right. Anything you want to add to that, Jeff, before we move on in the
I
video?
agree everything what he's saying.
Okay, let's move on.
Well, if people need support, show up today at Government Center from 3 to 7, and we'll see what we can do to help you.
And I would think that even after today's event, if people still have questions, they can call your office. They can call Catholic Social Services, right? Obviously.
Yeah, we get calls all the time. We do what we can. Again, rent increases are a nationwide problem that are happening very quickly as these property values shoot up. Rents increase when they're sold.
The property values want to shoot up because you have a mayor who's using a debt exclusion, which we will get into right after this. This is a segue. Who wants to use the debt exclusion to pay for everything he wants in the city, and he's gonna make sure his appraisers go out and raise your property values. We're gonna have high property values in Fall River.
Shocking.
Specifically, that seems to be one of the
You
driving
have
forces.
the 4th highest crime rate, 4th most dangerous city in the state, and you're going to tell people that the property values are the 3rd highest in the state, 4th highest in the state? How does that correlate? I don't understand the thought process behind that. And people are like, oh, great, my house is worth $600,000. No, it's not. Your house is only worth $600,000 because this man wants your money. These people want more money, and they're going to take it from your stupidity. That's it.
Don't be a
As
fool.
the property is going up so fast that when you buy a property
going up
that's
so
been marked up that
fast.
much, you increase the rents to cover your
It's not his
mortgage, your
fault.
insurance, your water and sewage, and that seems to be the jumping point right now. But we're looking at it today, and hopefully we'll get to talk to some people.
Yeah. Another initiative that was announced last week through the fire department in partnership with Bristol Elder Services. Bristol Elders is funding a program where the fire department through the EMT and EMS will be conducting some health checks and wellness
I
checks
support
of
this.
city seniors. I know that, a lot of times seniors don't have a voice of their own, and this is an opportunity for them or a loved one to contact the fire department to have them come in and check out what's happening with seniors, making sure they're okay and doing anything they can. This looks like it's definitely a win-win for our community with so many seniors we have in Fall River.
It is a win-win, and again, it's the same type of situation. If people know a senior that's at risk or they see something that's not right in the apartment, notify us. I mean, the fire department pitching in is a great assist, but our building inspectors do this all the time.
I give the city a sticker. I'm like, this has nothing to do with him. I'm giving the city a sticker.
I'll give our fire
I was down on
department
North Main Street, I want
agree.
to say 6 months ago, maybe a little longer, and the woman obviously it was a hoarding situation.
Not many
No
scandals in
heat
fire
in the
department.
house, no.
Only
There was a couple.
only
One
two or
couple.
three really crazy things, and early retirements and getting their retirement so they don't come out and put them on blast, things like that. So I get that. Like, shit happens in the workplace. I got it. But they're not stealing from the taxpayer per se.
No, they're good people. I mean, everyone's good. I mean, but
No, I give them a lot of credit.
no, they do good out there.
No running water, and it was a very, very sad event. But again, we found it because the yard was overgrown, and we ended up starting to do some checking. But those are the kind of things we need to know about in the city of Fall River, and partnering with the fire department and Bristol Elder Services is just another link in the chain to try to provide a safety net for people. We're really appreciative.
They were trying to condemn that
Yeah.
property so they could take it.
Moving on now to some dollars and cents for the city.
Uh-oh, this is
I
good
was
stuff.
reading actually a social media post yesterday from Senator Michael Rodrigues, and as been the case in the past, the city is going to be receiving upwards of $1.2 million to help with its public safety staffing in the police and fire department. I know this has been
one-time monies.
something that you have appreciated as mayor over the past few years.
One-time money.
All right, I don't really understand this. So we're gonna get one-time monies for staffing when this should be one-time monies for any public safety should go towards cameras. It should go towards new cruisers, new equipment. It shouldn't go towards salaries.
No.
Would you agree with that, Boomer? Would you agree with that, Jeff?
No. That should go for serious issues, not given to people.
One-time money does not help anything. One-time money creates a long-term deficit, a long-term debt. Okay, so we hire all these people, we put them all in these positions, and then next year they're on these books, and all of a sudden they're showing up on our budget.
How are we gonna pay?
How are we gonna pay them? I know how. We're gonna go out and we're gonna go look at your house. We're gonna be like, "Yep, that's the same house we saw last year."
help
But you
and
know what?
funding,
We think it's
the
worth
needed
another.
services.
I'm gonna say $25,000 more now because we really need the money.
Yep.
And you know what? Hey, look on the bright side. Your property value's up. That's not a bright side. That's a bright side if I wanted to sell my property.
Mhm.
Not a bright side for me to take care of my family, which is what most people
Your
do.
taxes go up.
Most people buy their home for their families,
Yes.
so they don't have to pay rent. They don't have to do it. They have a safe place for their families and legacy for their families and things for their families to be safe in case something happens to them. It's not for the government to go and just take everything that you're earning from it.
Yes.
And it
That's
has
all
been
we do here.
time had dinner in Fall River
And I'm
where
not
we
saying the
talked
mayor.
about a number of issues
I'm
that we
saying
can
the
work
government,
together on
all
to
of
make the city of Fall River a better place to live. And that's what's going on in the city of Fall River right now. Concerted efforts to improve the quality of life for everybody, whether it's public safety grants or waterfront grants or CSO money, working together with our federal delegation and our local and state legislators.
To improve the quality
That's the
of
way to
life.
do it. And again, I'm very, very appreciative of the efforts of everybody that wants to pitch in to help
Not
the
for
city and its residents.
Is it difficult sometime as we head into city budget season? I know your administration is working on the fiscal year 23 budget. Is it sometimes difficult to have to rely on grants like this, where the state has been again very supportive of the city in terms of staffing police and fire, but can you always count on it every year? And if you don't, do you have those contingencies in terms of making sure that our police and fire department are well staffed?
Well, again,
No.
you're not going to refuse a grant. You definitely want them in the fold to help supplement the city budget. Those grants that you're talking about, I believe, are almost 100% used for overtime for our police and fire, for fill-ins, for situations where we need more people in work. all the grants, we try to do our best to use them as a support to the traditional city budget. Do we offset money in the budget? Absolutely sometimes, but at the same time, we're looking forward on long term where we may be able to pick up some savings or some reductions and help the city. It's really, really interesting because of what the country went through with ARPA. For example, when the state, take that back, when the federal government freed up the restrictions on lost revenue and gave us that additional $10 million in lost revenue, that's almost like an additional stabilization fund. We have our one that we've worked to build to $7 million. We have our free cash, whatever that is. I think it's 1.5. Now we have the lost revenue. So these things are all in place to support us and do things in the city of Fall River that are necessary to keep it running like it should.
Okay.
And finally, speaking of budget season, tomorrow night, the what has been an annual event based on the city charter is a joint meeting of yourself, the school committee, and the city council to talk about the budget for the upcoming year. The school committee is moving forward on its budget. How helpful is it for you to meet with both the school committee and the city council as you prepare your budget for next year?
It's extremely helpful. Obviously, as chairman of the school committee, I'm involved with the school budget extensively. And then you come over to the city side where we're up here every day, meeting with department heads, meeting with the key players that put the city budget together and the city councilors. But what it is an overview of where we're going. And it is a unique time in the city of Fall River with all the additional funds the schools have gotten, with all the additional funds the city's gotten. It's really a different time when no one is talking about pink slips or layoffs or reductions. We're at a point where we're trying to build long term, but at the same time we do have some substantial money to invest in our schools and in the city of Fall River. So it is unique. I mean, I know I talked to former counselors or even some existing ones or committee men when they tell me, oh, we were cutting 3 teachers and we were trying to combine programs. We're not at that spot at all. We're adding substantial employees in the school department, and obviously we're doing some projects in the city that may have been kicked down the road for a little while. So financially, we're in a pretty good spot, as I've said all along, and I think we just have to capitalize on it.
Yeah.
Wow, this guy. No, all right. That was it. This mayor looks at the city with rose-colored glasses.
So
He
pretty.
thinks-
Look at all this.
He honestly thinks the city is sunshine, flowers, and rainbows. He is out of touch with reality.
Well, not
Okay.
just
They
reality. Not just
They all
reality.
have no sense of reality of what really is going on out here. None.
Yeah, no. You say none of us do?
None of them.
None, yeah.
None of them.
Well, unless it affects them, that's the problem. Unless
But
it
it
affects
doesn't.
their.
The only time they care is when it affects their paychecks and their friends' paychecks. None of this affects them. None of this. What's the crime rate in his area
Where are you
compared
from?
to compared to
I'm
everyone
not
else's?
that
Boston.
sure.
What's the crime rate in near any of their houses?
Very small, I guess. I can't tell.
Never heard of a call at all. It's weird.
Unless if it's in this
Because
direction.
you know that would be everywhere. City council, blah, blah, blah's, house was broken into today, or cars in, this person's area is broken into today, or it doesn't happen. Why? Because the police force is used as their own personal security when they need it. They cover it all up when God forbid they are part of a call, and again, everybody's got their issues. I got that.
Yeah.
I'm all for that. I'm all for privacy. I'm all for it. But don't sit up there and grandstand and promote how great we're doing and the city's moving forward and we're doing this and we're doing that. You're doing nothing. We've moved backwards. We've moved to being broke. We're in more debt than we've ever been in. We're using one-time money to fund positions for friends and family, and we're still not helping the citizens. We're one of the highest crime rates in the freaking state. Probably the country.
And lovely, did we get?
It's like Gotham City, and nobody sees it coming.
Didn't we just get a bomb threat like 2 nights ago?
Yeah,
I'm like,
there were
I
guns,
can't believe.
yeah, guns, kids with guns, all kinds of crazy stuff going on. But don't worry,
Come to Fall River.
don't worry. Come to Fall River, and your property values are going up.
But not
How?
really.
How is Tell me why. Don't tell me it's, because there's a shortage. Shortage of what? Because these people ain't paying rent, so you're taking their houses. I don't understand how there's a shortage when we have realtors that somehow find all of these houses that they can buy and they can flip and they can do this, and that's fine. But yet we have a shortage. No, we don't. We have a greed problem. Do I agree that there's less houses on the market than there were back then? Yeah, sure. Population also grew. That's also a big part of it. I got that. I agree with it. But please don't tell me that we're moving in the right direction, because we are so far off the right direction. It's absurd.
They want to think they want to go the right direction, but it takes time. You can't rush things. And when you want to spend
You can
one-time
think
money,
about the right direction all you want, but if you spend to put us backwards, we're not getting there.
that's why I say to people, when you get these types of money, be responsible. Don't just give it to everything all together. Use what you can do with it and cut it by half. Like, I can give that type of money for this person or for this department, but I can't give it to everything.
No.
Then we'll be
Let's fix
screwed
you
go
right
backwards.
now. Next year, we'll fix you. Make a plan. Plan ahead. I got it.
Yeah.
Hey, you know what? We're drowning here. We don't have it. Cool. You've been that way for the last 45 years. Survive one more year. Let's fix this. Next year, it's you.
Yeah.
Next year, it's you. And by that time, you recycle through, catching up, playing catch up. We don't have to support the whole world every freaking budget season.
That's not how it
Steal
works.
from the taxpayers. You can't.
We-
Either you have it or you do not.
We're not Providence. We're not any major city. Like
Come
Boston.
on. Viola's bringing in another McDonald's. Come on.
Oh wow!
All kinds of crazy paying jobs out here.
Woo!
We're gonna have. What do we
All
have
right.
now? Like 8 or 9 of them? 7, 8, 9, something like that.
All right, I do want to cover 2 more topics today. One, I want to talk about the joint meeting yesterday.
Oh yes.
We'll start with this clip and we're going to respond to
Yeah,
it. It's
yeah.
been shared everywhere on social media.
Okay, in terms of the debt exclusion for the high school, that's going to be a separate line item on the tax bill for
No, it
everybody. It's not anymore?
There's no provision for that at this time on the city's tax bill. And that's highly uncommon. I mean, that's really uncommon. I mean, years ago, we used to do a separate tax rate for both the schools.
It's not a separate line item.
There won't be a separate.
No.
line item.
I find that intriguing.
Oh, you haven't heard this yet, Boomer? Wait, let's listen to it first. Let's play this
Since
out.
Day one, it's always been said that that would be a separate line item on the tax bill because that debt exclusion is specifically and only to pay for the school. I don't believe that debt exclusion should be included in the general budget
Well, no,
where
but
the
it's-
question on the ballot was specifically for debt exclusion to pay for the high school.
Yeah, well, I mean, that's in the budget. I mean, it's you can't, that money is specifically dedicated to pay for the half of the, at this point, about half of the debt.
So
The school Durfee debt.
Ugh.
Yeah, for the high school. I mean, but and then someday when that's paid off, it's gone.
So the debt to pay to build Durfee
Right.
is in the general taxes going into the general fund just to be paid as part of the operating budget, as opposed to handling it as a debt exclusion.
No, the money that's borrowed for the Durfee, long-term borrowed money, is included in the city's debt schedule. So you're bringing in money to pay for, that debt. So, I mean, there's no.
Okay, so how do people know what their
Wait.
dollar amount is paying towards the school?
Yeah, George, give me a minute.
Mm.
Okay, and that will happen when?
You mean when?
Yeah,
I
would
mean,
say
people have been
that-
waiting years to know how much Durfee is
George, we'll
gonna
answer your
cost them
questions in
in
just a minute.
additional taxes.
Oh, I see. Oh, I'm sorry.
Well, it's, again, this year, Ms. Dion, it's probably about $4.5 million. So we're going to try to help with half of it. But to your point, I think when we get closer to tax time and the budget's completed, I think you've got a good idea where we put out what the tax is on a $300,000 single family, what the tax is on a $500,000 three family, so people know the breakdown. I actually have that on my table, but we were waiting. This is a preliminary budget review. but I think you have a good point. People have to know, and I think that's valid.
Oh.
I do.
I'm glad the mayor thinks
I
it's
want him to
valid.
show me a $300,000 single family home in the city right now.
It's very, very rare.
I want him to show me one because I'm looking at it for sale at like $499 for craziness for like 1,500 square feet. It's insane.
All right, real quick, we do have some questions from one of our viewers. When we keep read them out,
Right.
just
So Georgia asked about asking this question. He said they just hired a person to handle the ARPA money. Why can't that person handle this?
who?
This
I don't know who.
I don't know. But the simple answer is it doesn't take care of their friends. The simple answer is you're never going to take Fiola out of the money. It's never going to happen.
No.
That's your reality.
They have.
You are never going to take the money.
The mayor
away
has a
from that
secretive
family.
ARPA
Period.
committee handling the money. He has an ARPA committee filled with random people who meet behind closed doors, no public meeting, no agenda, no
Correct.
knowing what they will approve and want to talk about. I agree, George. We all
know
agree.
that. We all understand that. There's a reason he was removed by the last minute. We know. But at the end of the day, there's nothing you can do about it because it's all the people that are in charge and it goes all the way up. It doesn't just stop in Fall River. Unfortunately, it doesn't stop here. And anybody that stands up to it is targeted. They're going after your jobs. They're calling your bosses. They're calling you work for federal or state jobs. They're going after you. It's hard to fight when everybody doesn't stand up together. So either the people need to get up and do it or continue voting for the same old. But at the end of the day, the simple answer is corruption.
Yeah, I hope that answered. We all agree, George. I think we all agree. I think we agree most of the time. All of us agree on the issues.
Well, kudos to Michelle on the meeting last night and Kevin Aguilar.
Kevin. I wanted to play one clip from Kevin.
Kevin's been great. I have to give Kevin a lot of credit.
I agree.
100%.
But
I am going to play.
Before you play that clip,
Sure.
did we just hear them say that now they're basically going to use that debt exclusion as a free-for-all
Yes.
to use for whatever they
And for
want
the debt-
and not
yeah.
just use for Durfee?
Yes, it's
Right.
a free for all.
So they're going to use that money to basically fund all of their theft.
They so the mayor said so, and this is I'm going to play.
Is that what I got? I just want to make sure I heard that
So-
correctly. Like if that's what I'm getting.
The mayor said it was. So we were told, and Kevin Aguilar said this during the meeting. The city was going to pay around 3.5 million a year.
Correct.
We're paying $1 million more a year.
Mm.
The taxpayers through the debt exclusion. We're paying 4.5. Ask the mayor. That's what the mayor said.
I want to know why.
I think that's the big question on everyone's mind is why are we paying
Where is this
over than what we were
$1 million going?
promised?
Where is this extra $1 million a year going?
And everyone wanted to vote, and everyone better not vote for a debt exclusion for Diamond. You kidding me? They're going to use. They would use that.
That shouldn't even be on the table. We can fit it in the damn budget. Cut back on all the nonsense and the theft. That's what they need to do.
Because
it's
we have an administration that's going to use the debt exclusion not for what it's meant for.
Which is exactly the problem. As soon as you give that to them, it's like giving them a blank check.
We did give them a blank
Give
check.
them a blank check, and here they go, already throwing it right in your face. You know what? Actually, we're going to take this, and we're going to use it for this instead.
All right, I'm taking every star back I gave to shame on me.
You see what I'm saying? Like, it goes backwards. And listen, I'm going to say this, and I'm sure I'm going to take heat for it. I'm sure, somebody's already recording it and hoping that I'm going to say it so they can
Speak
use it
it. Speak
campaign. But at the end of the day, he is not thinking of this himself.
Oh, yeah.
These thoughts, ideas, theft are being presented to him.
Yes.
He is not thinking of this.
Of course.
This is not
I said that.
This is not his creative ideas.
Boomer.
His creative thinking.
I literally
He
said the
is
exact
not the
same
man
thing you
doing
did
this.
at the citizens input yesterday. He's being controlled. He's being controlled.
I think the councils are scared. Like, oh, we don't want to take this to court. When I heard him said that, I'm like,
they need to grow a backbone. I'm sorry, they really do.
get a backbone,
very
for Christ's sake.
And that was my issue with Trot last year with his nonsense of, oh, we're going to fight this. We're going to fight this. Oh, we're going to go to court. Oh, I don't want to go to court. So you don't want to go to court for millions of dollars for the rest of our lives because it was going to cost $40,000 that year? I hope he doesn't do his own taxes. I really hope he doesn't do his own taxes because I'd rather pay $40,000 now to try and not pay millions of dollars for the rest of our lives. Like, common sense will tell you, right? I'd rather pay that now than pay forever at 1,000,000 times more. It just makes no sense. It makes no sense to me. But it was convenient, how he's the new chairperson and he's the new person put on the boards, and then all that stuff fell into play, and then all of a sudden he doesn't stand up to the mayor anymore. It's weird how that happened. He is literally Fall River's politician, let me tell you.
It's sad.
I thought it was Linda, but Trot is by far Fall River's politician. Linda's kind of growing on me. She's actually standing up for kids and standing up for using money and helping taxpayers.
I feel like we all switch.
So Linda is finally stepping up and standing up for the right reasons, and as long as she's doing that, I'm going to back her. Don't get me wrong; she's got years of shit that I don't agree with, and unfortunately, she backed this administration, and we're in this position because of it.
Oh yeah.
So I don't forgive her for that. So I took a couple of stars away for that, but she's been standing up for the taxpayer this year. She's been doing it. So I'm going to give her some credit because she's earning it.
That's fair.
Don't screw it up, Linda. Do not screw it up.
You want to bet on that?
Okay.
April 1st, if I recall.
You're finally getting some people on your side.
Budget, you'd be able to
Not the same people in the homes. Like, you're getting normal people on your side.
Listen, now we sit here and we listen. Well, maybe later, but it's going to be extended. But we might get a thing. That can't be tolerated. It shouldn't be tolerated. I sit at home as a citizen watching these meetings, and I get frustrated because some of this stuff just doesn't add up, and it doesn't make sense. The trash needs to be addressed. That we all know that. To Councilor Lee's point about there was a savings of money for the recycling, I would challenge anybody to find out where was the RFP for that that went out to actually ask people to bid on that project. I can tell anybody didn't happen. Didn't happen. You didn't go to all the vendors and say, what can you do? What can't you do? So it wasn't like a miraculous thing that it's savings. The actual industry just changed at that time. So no matter what company it was going to give you less revenues. Like if you ask somebody to buy gas today, and last year was less, now it's more. That's basically what happened with that. But when you look at the forecast, I want the council to know we on the school side have asked these questions to our superintendent and our finance director. Get a 5-year budget sustainability. We had 200 positions in the budget, something like that. I asked them to try to look at this so they can show us how, if you want me to vote on something, how am I going to be confident that we'll have the money to keep these folks going forward? They gave us a one-pager, very simple, very clear, from Mr. Almeida and Mrs. Ponce. Talks about the 5-year budget sustainability, 2023, 24, 25. The budget basically is going to go up 17% every year. At that same time, the required local contribution, which is on your side, goes up 2 million, 3 million, 2 million, and 3 million for the next.
So this is exactly what I've been talking about. Wait, can I? Let me explain to everyone. You know how I've been talking about for weeks now? It's paused.
Okay.
You know how I've been talking for weeks now, Boomer Jeff, about how we increased our deficit this year by $2 million.
Mm-hmm.
Next year, we're also going to be getting another $2 million bill. Then next year, we're going to get another $3 million bill and a $2 million bill.
Yep. Because
the budget is going up 17%, like Mr. Aguiar said, and the city has to make that up.
No,
by the millions.
The city's taxpayers have to make that up.
Yes, yes.
The city doesn't have to make up anything except their fictional budget that they never stick behind anyway. They can't meet a budget. They just throw numbers at the wall and it's like, you know what? Let's throw that shit and hope it sticks. Like, it doesn't make any sense. These are your costs. Do not tell me that next year's costs are more just because you want to. Just because you want to. Everybody doesn't deserve a raise just because. None of you have earned anything.
Boom,
Kadeem deserves a raise.
Boom, can I have $100,000, please?
No, you don't deserve $100,000 from me.
Okay, then.
However, can you have it? Sure. You just have to vote for the right people, apparently.
If the city was financially good,
oh my God,
then yes, we can do it. But no, we
focus on improving the city
first.
Stop creating jobs for people who aren't qualified for them, first and foremost. Focus on the city's needs. How do you help the taxpayer finally save money? You don't follow the federal side where inflation is through the roof and create your own inflation just because. the idiocy. It's baffling. Like, I don't understand who sits in this round table excursion up there on the 6th floor and has this conversation, be like, you know what? I think it would be better if we took more money from the struggling people and we paid you guys more. Like, I want to know who comes up and says, well, don't forget, we deserve pay raises. The word in there, deserve, really bothers me.
It's earn.
Yeah. I don't think they understand what that means. I think they look at it like earned tax credit, maybe. Maybe they look at it that way because, like, oh, I'm due this money. You owe me this money because I work here. I don't owe you shit. You owe us. You work for us. If you do not produce for us, you should be fired, not paid more, not incentivized to stay there. That is any job. Collin, you have a job.
Yes.
If you don't go to work and do your job, or you go to work and you mess it up and you cost them millions and millions and hundreds of millions of dollars,
Wow.
do you have a job?
I think I'd be fired. No, I don't.
Probably be in prison. But yes, you're definitely going to lose your job. If they keep you, let me know because I'm going to work for them. And I'm going to be
Work for the city.
me and Jazel are gonna get to know each other a little better because
jeez.
I'm gonna go work for them.
Oh.
However, now I have people that work for me. If these people work for me and they don't produce and they don't do their job and do what they're supposed to do, should I continue to pay them and give them a raise?
No.
At the end of the day, I don't care who you are, what you do. That is your job.
Random question, well, on what you're talking about. Do you think the mayor should be doing performance? I remember Councilor Pine talking about this, about performance review audits of
Councilor Ponte, but yes.
okay, thank you.
It's okay.
Former Councilor Ponte.
I miss him too. It's all right.
Anyway, well, he was talking about this during the campaign. He said we should have performance review audits of all our department heads and a restructuring.
Yeah.
Here's the thing: would you trust Paul Coogan to do performance audits?
No, he's gonna go down. Hey, Pam, you're doing a great job. Awesome. He hired her. No, I do not trust it. But at the end of the day, if we're gonna allocate an outside source instead of 14 different attorneys that do what we want them to do for just for the 6th floor, pay that money to people that actually do their job. Okay, DCM, whoever it is, who's in charge of my damn streets, right? Okay, whoever that is, right? I don't want to just single people out. So whoever's in charge of my water, all of a sudden we have lead in all our water. Well, somebody didn't do their job. Somebody's not maintaining their equipment. Somebody's not maintaining the pipe. Somebody's not keeping up with anything. And obviously it's one of those reactive jobs because they don't know anything that's going on until the water main breaks and the street collapses. So I get that. Get there, fix it, got it. Why are we subbing this out? And if we're going to sub it out, why don't we just hire those people all the time instead of paying all of these people tax dollars and then paying them more tax dollars to do those people's job that we're already paying tax dollars to? Let's start there. You know, there's costs. I get it. And it's not a cheap
Nothing's cheap.
department. Water department is not a cheap department. I got that. Piping, machinery,
Chemicals.
materials, chemicals. It's a big deal. I get that. I did it. I understand it. Even when Paul tries to talk and pretend like you don't know what you're talking about, it's quite interesting. But I assure you, I've done it. I've been in the water. I've been in the sewer. I've been in the shit. I get it. So, but don't worry. He did the engineering himself. It's fine. I trust that. I trust Biden more. So at the end of the day, we are,
and you don't trust Joe Biden.
no.
Oh, you just
Actually, I'm wrong. I do trust Joe Biden. I trust Joe Biden to be Joe Biden. Okay, so I do trust Joe to be Joe.
I'm sorry, I didn't mean to
Okay,
cut you off.
no, it's okay.
Joke.
My personal opinion is he was the wrong choice. That's my personal opinion. Got it.
Wait, I just want to play one. What did George say last? What was his last comment?
And Trot is dumb as a box of rocks. His questions are stupid. Kevin did a better job.
Okay. I just want.
Well,
I just didn't see it. I really
Trot
didn't see
does
the
a lot
comment.
of speaking to speak. He wants to be on camera. He wants to be heard. He has to pretend he's standing up for his constituents. But that's it. When push comes to shove, he's not on our side. He's never on our side. He always costs us more money, and that's just the way it is. Nice guy, I'm sure. Great guy, but
I
he
think
doesn't. If you're not voting for him or it's not election time, you don't see him. He might have a cleanup every now and then in his neighborhood, which just gets other people to clean up his streets, which is cool. But outside of that, like, he's not doing anything for the people. Period. Chris might have been a hardhead. Chris might have, pissed off enough people.
Oh yeah.
I think Chris, his heart was in the right place most times. I think he listened to some of the wrong people sometimes as well, but his heart was in the right place. He genuinely wanted to see change. He genuinely wanted things to be better, things to be safer. So I'm all for that. I believe Kadeem is 99% of the time on the right track and trying to help. Not always, but I do believe he genuinely understands that there's some things he can control and some things not worth spending money on. And there's some things that, hey, sorry, we just have to spend the money on.
But it's funny when my issues, when he brings up, when I can agree when he wants to bring up issues that we cannot afford. But yeah, when he wants to say we have the right to vote something, but when we're going to be struggling for more tax dollars in the near future, we have a say. We should have a say. So I still get fed up with.
Oh, is this about Diamond?
Well, yeah, but just not just with Diamond. Just when he says that if he wants to see us to have a city chart, the charter change for more of a city input, for us to make a point, then maybe we should.
See, in my opinion, I believe he's correct. We voted for these people to represent us. The problem is we voted for people who don't represent us. I believe he is one that does. So when I say that they should have that vote, they should stand up to it, they should do it, I agree. And I think they fought for the right reasons. They fought to not have a debt exclusion on there. I believe they did do the right thing. But here's the thing. I don't think the average person would even understand it.
That's true.
Let's be real. How many people are actually paying attention to understand what a debt exclusion actually is? So there's a reason we got under 13,000 voters or so.
Yeah. Anyways, just to wrap this, and then we talk about our final subject for 5 minutes. Just to wrap this topic up, and this is going to be a big issue during the budget time. Why is the administration using the debt exclusion for other venues? And it should be just for Durfee. It should be for Durfee only. They should not be allowed to. And I feel like they're misleading the voters, and we will come back to this issue.
And I want to know if there's legal action that can be taken for them doing so, because the debt exclusion was not to cover mishandling of your budget that you always mishandle. The debt exclusion was specifically to cover the cost of Durfee, not the cost of Durfee and all of your nonsense costs. Sorry.
Apparently, they're being used for debt in total, which is not what it's meant for. It's meant for Durfee High School. On the budget, on the ballot, that's what it said.
Exactly.
Anyway, last topic. We're going to briefly talk about the school committee meeting Monday, real quickly. And you're gonna. We talked about this before. There's an individual. I think this is a faculty member. They're going to a NESAC conference in Pawtucket, Rhode Island. And they're not requesting any, I'm not. They're going to have self means of transportation, and they're not requesting any cost, any reimbursement and we just had a big discussion on this, how we should have, and I changed my mind on this. Our faculty should be better treated, not the big wigs. Jeff, you weren't here for these shows. There was a political supporter of the mayor who's a dean, who got $50 just for going to Providence. And then again, it's a little story, but it shows the bigger picture, so I'm always going to bring it up. $50 to go to Providence, Jeff. Mm-hmm. And now we have someone who may not be may not be politically involved, politically connected with the administration, and they don't get a little reimbursement, a little token for traveling. I thought that was our policy to reimburse people. A school committee member told me that's policy and standard procedure to reimburse people for travel. And darn right, I'm going to bring this up at the next school committee meeting because that's not fair. She should at least she should get $50 just for traveling for a conference to help
If you're working for the city, then yeah,
the
you
state
should.
the school
Yeah.
department. Yes.
Yeah, then you should.
That was just one thing. We'll briefly go through the budget. I mean, through the agenda here, and then Monday they also want to approve their full budget. They want to vote to approve the 4 technology job descriptions for systems manager, technology manager, help desk coordinator, and VoIP manager, as referred by the technology subcommittee and presented by Scott Cabral, chief information officer. They want to update the following policies. So they're updating a whole list of policies, or at least they want to, for a lot of it had to do with the issues the superintendent did. So I'm happy they're updating some of these policies. About time. They should have did this last year, but we had a school committee who was a bunch of jokes were on that school committee. You have the budget they're going to be talking about. They have they want to have more movie nights at Durfee. More new at July
Do
June.
you have to be vaccinated and wear a mask?
I don't know. June 24th, July 29th, and August 19th.
You know what?
we're having
I'm
movie
okay with it because listen, clearly there are people that do want to do it and want to take their kids to do something, and I'm okay with it. Here's the thing. Again, we have the land to have our own entertainment from everywhere. We can build a drive-in movie theater and do just like Rhode Island does, just 140 on 146, whatever that is. It can be done.
It could.
Why don't we do it? Why don't we do it? Instead, you're gonna fit what? 200 cars, maybe 100 cars in Durfee's parking lot.
Oh,
great.
Whoopee.
Yeah, it's free. It's something to do. I'm all for that. Okay, cool.
They want a they
let's be
also
real.
want a payroll manager position.
Oh, great.
What else do they want? I was looking at the contracts. I was looking briefly at the contract approval of contracts. Amaral Bus Company.
Not mine.
Boom House, right. Oh, and one thing I wanted to bring up. They want to use $424,000 of ESSER funds to replace Chromebooks. I felt like we just did this. Do we have an issue with our I have a legitimate question. Do we have an issue with our Chromebooks that people are misusing them, students are misusing them, or they're being lost or something like that? I thought we discussed this, that there's a replacement for that, but we're replacing 2,400 Chromebooks for $400,000
Wow, that's a lot.
of our ESSER funds.
We're doing how many?
2,400.
It's not bad.
Mm.
Really, I mean, you got to think about how many of these kids have them. Kids drop shit. Things happen. Spill a drink. Like, some of these computers just die. Like, I know when my kids were all home, and you're gonna see, I raised 6 kids, and an educator in the house, where there's a lot of things that can happen. There's a lot of things that go wrong with these computers all the time. Like, it's just normal stuff. So you got to turn that one in, get a loaner, whatever it is. So there's a lot of things. And $2,400, considering the amount of kids we have in the school system here that use them, I don't think that's that bad.
That's the only major thing.
24,000, I'd have an issue. 2,400, I think that's pretty cheap considering. I think that's pretty cheap considering. That's not that many. Computers.
I don't know.
At computer costs right now, that's not that many, honestly.
I don't really have I don't have an issue with buying the Chromebooks. I just want to make sure we're maintaining our property. That's it. I
know that they have people working on them daily. So, because I know when a kid goes down, it's bring it right down. You have an appointment this time, and they get them the next day. So somebody is definitely on top of most of the maintenance. So I have to agree with the Chromebooks. They've been pretty good. I can't guarantee that every kid has been pretty good with them, but the school,
I understand.
The school department has done a good job maintaining them. I at least from my perspective, from what I've seen, and I've seen it firsthand, I think they've done a pretty good job.
I've never seen them as long as they keep them good, and then
I think they're doing a very good job of it.
All right.
I think it's more of like parents and making sure their kids take care of stuff kind of thing.
All right, everyone. I think we're going to end it there. Great show today. I think we covered a lot of issues. School committee meeting Monday. A very important city council meeting Tuesday. A very important school committee meeting Monday as well. Both equally as important. We'll be back with another show Tuesday, and we'll discuss the meetings coming up, the past school committee meeting, the city council meeting that night. And I'm sure we'll have a lot more information this week coming up. We certainly had a lot of information this week we just had. A lot of stuff came out. It's always important to stay involved in your community. I hope everyone has a great rest of your night. Thank you.
Thank you.